He spent 31 years in jail, convinced his career was over and his music was to be heard by no one. But while behind bars, his music gained a new life, sampled by Kanye West, Frank Ocean, Freddie Gibbs, and Earl Sweatshirt. Today we're talking about You Can Fly My Airplane by Wee. This album was produced, written, and arranged by Norman Whiteside, who funded the studio sessions by hustling and selling drugs. They recorded and released this album in 1977 in Columbus, Ohio. Norman got his start as a drummer in a family band, working his way up to Capsule Records as a songwriter. He also worked with OWL Records. In order to learn the piano, he mowed his aunt's lawn in exchange for lessons. So when he went to record this album, he actually had a lot of experience despite it being his first official record. When he went to release this album, he went to labels like Stax, Motown, and Atlantic, who all rejected him, mainly because they didn't think he could make a hit. Now, this album did make moves in the local Ohio scene. However, soon after this album's release, Whiteside was back on the streets, hustling and forging checks. And by 1980, he had quit music altogether. Now, fast forward to April 3rd, 1985, where Whiteside gets sent to prison for forgery and conspiracy to commit aggravated murder for the drive-by shooting of one 18-year-old Laura Carter, a college student who was caught in the crossfire of a gang shootout in 1982. The girl was being driven to dinner after a game by her father where she was fatally shot. Now, police did acknowledge that Norman was not present during the shooting, however, it claimed that he facilitated the purchase of the murder weapon. Whiteside has always denied this, however, he was still booked for 50 years, reduced to 37 after appeals. Now, if we can fast forward to 2008, 23 years into his bid, legendary record label Numero Group approached Whiteside with plans to revive his music. They proposed reissuing his vinyl and releasing his music onto streaming services. Whiteside agrees, and over the years, slowly watches the album become a cult classic amongst record collectors and hip-hop heads alike. The album's really incredible. You know, he's singing about an airplane, scooping him up out the ghetto and taking him to this fantasy world. It's got incredible musicianship, incredible songwriting, and I don't like talking about samples. However, it was slowly through Kanye West sampling, Freddie Gibbs sampling,
everything, Cadillacs, smoking on that good for my cataract, fucking up this bad food.
Jay Electronica sampling, that this album was actually able to get up to a wider audience.
Nigerian wallet made out of snake. Long face in the bank, short change. This toy would feel like 40 states while we go on home patrolling game.
He had this to say about the sampling of his album. The prison guards thought I was crazy when I told them I had been nominated for a Grammy. Kanye's music is the highway used to finally get me out of prison. Hip-hop sampling literally changed my life. Sure, the internet might have made it easy for me to find a new audience, but it also might have